Hello everyone, Funky Blood here, and I don't know how to properly introduce this new Bjork album, because yes, it has been heralded as one of the best releases of the year by many people, including Brad Taste in Music, who gave it almost 100 out of 100, which is very epic. But I'm not super sure if it is that great, for one reason only. Fantano. Fantano gave this a decent 5 out of 10. Yes, the infamous busiest music nerd disliked this album so much
that
he gave it a pretty unexpected score.
4.
Many people, including myself. And yeah, I get it, he is entitled to have his own opinion and all, but the fact that he gave it a score this low may be indicative of the flaws this album has that may turn me off from, falling in love with it. Also, another thing about this album is that Ratio Music has categorized this album as post-industrial, which is crazy to me, because the most out there songs I've heard from Bjork were mainly trip-hop songs, specifically on the album Post that I reacted to, which you should definitely see the video of as soon as possible. So about the cover, I'm not a huge fan of it. I get what Bjork is going for, with, her presumably being the queen of flowers she is standing on top of, but I don't think the execution was great, really. For one, the rocks and the backgrounds have an ugly color palette. For two, Bjork's costume, while it is pretty good, I don't know why she's crouching, and why is there like smoke surrounding her and the flowers? Speaking of, they look like vaginas. And that would be fine if it wasn't for the fact that I'm already split on this album cover, and them being there just kind of adds to the mixed feelings I have for it. So, not the greatest inclusion in my opinion. Overall, while the cover isn't super dismal, it's not really reaching the standard that was set with most of her album covers. Okay, the rating system. You know the deal at this point. Green thumbs up for me liking the song. Gray thumbs down in the middle for me not caring about it, and red thumbs down for me not liking it really at all. These three are pretty simple, get used to them. Fossora is 50 minutes long, or 13 tracks long, and has a bunch of features that I haven't heard of before really, except maybe Serpentwithfeet. And the first track is the first single called Atopos. Also, I didn't put up a green screen this time because my sister is coming home from school very soon, and I want to try something new.
Just excuses to not connect. I bow to all that you've given me.
So I can definitely see the industrial influence, with the drums being so overbearing in the mix, and the singing is definitely par for the course for Bjork. I don't think she's changed all that much, which is good. Yeah, enjoying the track so far. Also, the jazz parts are pretty cool.
Resonance where we do connect. If we don't grow outwards, we'll implode inwards towards destruction. There's internal erosion towards all. Are these not just excuses?
The ending was insane. So the lyrical topic is pretty heavy-handed with Bjork talking about how we should move past our differences and all come together because we will implode inward towards destruction and all that, which is definitely a good topic to make a song about. Maybe a bit too blunt, but pretty good nonetheless. So about the sound of this track, it's pretty noisy and jazzy at the same time. I would say I like it, but those post-industrial drums were pretty distracting in my opinion. I still love it overall, especially the ending. It was pretty chaotic, and and the music video, the costumes and the jazz players and the makeup and all that, it was just, and the dancing at the end, it was so out there. It was almost funny. Overall, pretty good start in my opinion. 7.5 to an 8 out of 10, and a thumbs up, or the other way around, whatever. Next song is Ovule.
Ovule in a dark blood red void. I anchor our darks. I anchor our darks, so we can merge even deeper. Hostility, a broken heart returned to the world. I felt love was a building.
Oh,
Demonic divorces demolish the ideal and place a glass egg above us. Love making avatars.
yeah, there's a lot of metaphors here that I don't get at all. Some of the latter verses I get a bit more, but it's a bit convoluted. And the sound of it was also just mediocre. I mean, it did slightly go hard, but there wasn't really a beginning, a middle, and the end. It was just kind of a straight line. It was just kind of the same thing for 3 minutes straight, which is okay, but it got stale. Also, the music video was a bit meh. It just kind of seemed like Bjork was combining red costumes and weird aspect ratios to create something kind of strange, but it kind of just ended up as nonsense. Yeah, it's not a horrible song, but not really blowing me away with anything, really. It did slightly go hard, but the structure of it wasn't there. And I'm going to give it a 6.5.
Also a thumbs in the middle bordering on thumbs up.
It's like I almost have the opposite problems I had with the first song. And with the first song, I thought it was just a bit too blunt and a bit too
All over the place.
sound-wise. But here, it was just the same sound over and over again. And the lyrical topics were a bit too abstract. I guess I got what I asked for, but I liked it a bit less than the first track, unfortunately. Song number 3 is apparently an instrumental. Let's see what it does. So that was kind of an interlude, I guess. Where was the instrumental in this instrumental? Ha 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 ha. Kind of a weird track that I'm not really feeling, and I'm going to give it a thumbs in the middle and a 5.5 to a 6 out of 10. Maybe on repeated listens I will get it a bit more, but for now I'm just like perplexed with it, not in the best of ways. Track 4 is Sorrowful Soil. So that's a cacophony, cacophony. This is just throwing shit at the wall. I'm sorry, but it's barely pulling me in, and it's not really doing something I particularly enjoy, to be honest. The lyrical theme is about how mothers did their job, and it's self-sacrificial, and then Bjork is nihilism, I don't know. Okay, so I guess this was a tribute to Bjork's mother. I was barely pulled in, and I wouldn't say it did anything for me. The delayed vocal effects and the backup singers were just odd. The end. I didn't love this track really. I'm sorry, but it's just whatever. I'm giving this a thumbs in the middle and a 5.5 to a 6 out of 10. It was just okay. It was just okay. Track 5 is Ancestress, apparently another tribute to her late mother. Let's see what it does. Also 7 minutes long. Okay.
When I was a girl, she sang for me. My ancestress clock is ticking. Ting skin rebelling out of time. Oh, how you look back changes.
Okay, this part is a bit much. I liked it more when it was a bit more subtle. Now it's becoming more chaotic. I hope it doesn't stay for long.
Wish us for leaving. See the ultimate free farm. The machine of her breeze. Reload her. By now we share as much as I try to escape for centuries.
Cool strings. I like the strings.
It expands things through a cold palm in palm.
So, in my opinion, this was more of a return to form than not. Björk's singing was much more on pitch. The instrumentals were very orchestral. I like them for the most part. Also, the lyrical theme is much stronger than the last track. Also, the last song pales in comparison to this one, with Björk actually going into how her mother lived and how her last days per se were. And yeah, I enjoy the storytelling of this track a lot, especially with at a certain point Björk mentioning how she is turning into her own mother. That was a nice touch. Yeah, I didn't really like how the track exploded at various points. It felt a bit tone deaf to me. And also it didn't need to go on for like 7 minutes. Overall, I like this one much better than the previous few tracks, and I'm going to give this a thumbs up and a 7 to a 7.5. Definitely a highlight in some ways. I got dinner this time. How epic is that? Quite epic, in fact. Anyway, the next song is less than a minute long and in another language. Let's see what it does.
Fagurt er í fjörðum, að oss fer að sveigja. Men út þá deyja.
That was it? Man, that was the biggest interlude to ever interlude. I'm giving that an X out of 10. And moving on to the track number 7, Victimhood. Peculiar instrumentals. I guess the premise for this song is that she doesn't want to become a victim by her own choice, but it's fine being a victim, and in my opinion, like, playing the victim, okay, that's a bit much, but being a victim is fine. And I guess she is pretending to be a victim, which is cool. Yeah, whatever. I'm just being whatever. Whatever. We have 5 minutes to go. Let's see how she progresses from here.
This arm is hopeless, hoping to satisfy our tragedy to go
Okay, this part is a bit confusing. So, is this song tackling sacrificing yourself or being a victim or playing the victim, because now she wants love. This is just all confusing. And there's 3 minutes left. This beat sounds almost upbeat. I don't know why that is. Track number 3, is that you? No way, why did you come back? I didn't like you at all. So Victimhood is a bit of a confused song, in my opinion. It almost uses victimhood as a buzzword more than an actual word that means something. It's like, ooh, I heed a call out of victimhood to get out of victimhood. What? Just what? Sacrificing herself to save us? I don't know how or why or whatever. This is just a bit of a dud for me. And I'm going to give this a thumbs in the middle and 5.5 to a 6 out of 10. It was like the beats at the end were just kind of messy, were just kind of unnecessary, and yeah. Song 8, Allow. Bjork is barely trying to harmonize with the flutes. I think those are flutes. I wish she at least tried to do that. But oh well. You may think I'm disrespecting Bjork on this song with me eating and not really caring about the song, but you know, I brought food randomly. I didn't plan for this to be kind of, you know, me giving off the vibe that I don't want this music to exist or something, okay? It's just like not really happy accident. There, whatever. That's a good moment. That's a decent moment. Back to this harmony again. Epic. So yeah, I didn't like this song very much. I did like the moment when Bjork and Emilie Nicolas harmonized on the last line of verse 2, but beyond that, I think this song is kind of whatever. Like I said, Bjork barely tried to harmonize with the flutes, and I just had kind of a mediocre experience with this song, to be honest. I am giving this a thumbs in the middle and a 5.5 to a 6 out of 10. And the lyrics are just about her being God, I guess. Whatever. It's alright. At points. The next song is Fungal City, and hopefully it will get back to the plants idea concept of this album and hopefully it will get back to the plants concept that I think this album was going for at some point. Also, it has the serpentwithfeet feature, which about time, I guess.
Fungal City, rest floor. Mars, fresh sun, love is in that place.
What is even happening at the moment? There's three things happening, and I don't know what I'm supposed to focus on. It's like Bjork is singing, serpentwithfeet is singing, and there's like a weird buzzing noise in the background, and it is all almost unorganized, and that's not a good thing.
Should I soften blow of lightning? Capacity
I got a haircut, and now it looks like this. Pretty short, I know, but it's a lot better than this. That's for damn sure. Anyway, this Fungal City song is a lot better than I said originally, and I did have some problems with it, like Björk not really giving the best vocal performance and the production being kind of cluttered. But now that I re-listened to it much later, I see now that it's a bit more entrancing and kind of catchy, to be honest. I'm still not really in love with it, but I would say I like it much more than I did when I first heard it, and I'm not sure what I would give it right now. Something like 6.5 out of 10, maybe a 7, but it's not a 4 out of 10. That's for damn sure. Sure. That's for damn sure. And you can, I don't know, disregard what I said before the final part, I guess. Well. Track 10 is The Last Interlude. Let's go. Okay. So that just happened. Well, 5.5. No, wait. Maybe I won't give this a score in the future when I'm editing the video for this, but for now, thumbs in the middle. Yeah. Okay, so I kinda changed my mind on this one. I like it a bit more now that I look back on the album as a whole. This 2-minute simple motif actually works as a pretty moody slash decently scary interlude, and I would give it a thumbs up, but not really a score still. Track 11 is Freefall.
Let myself free fall of the love we created every time we kiss. Our joint presence gains form, captured in a structure. Solar systems coalesce, illuminate.
This is one of my favorite parts of the album. You know, the sticky that gets stuck in my head, and for a good reason. I like it.
Hike mountains and beaches.
So, Freefall. While it does have some issues that I had with previous songs, you know, Bjork barely trying to harmonize with the instrumentals, this time it wasn't as big of an issue, because the instrumentals were actually interesting and catchy, and Bjork, while she didn't, for the most part, connect with the instrumentals, she did in a way fit on top of them and created an actually great experience. This is probably one of my favorites from this album, and I am definitely going to give it a thumbs up and a 7 to a 7.5. Again, it does have its issues, but I found it to be really solid and one of my favorites in the tracklist. The lyrical topic is just her talking about how their relationship was a snowball effect and just describing the intricacies of it. It's alright. It's not very standout, but I get the metaphor, and it's pretty solid for what it is. The second to last track is the title track. Let's see what it does.
Nerves spread into the atmosphere.
Hmm. Hmm.
Digs downwards, dissolves, decomposes debris.
Hmm. The beats and the jazzy instrumentals actually come together quite nicely, and I like that.
I like it when.
Things sound good and catchy at the same time. I really do. You can barely hear Bjork now. Okay, so while this song didn't have the greatest outro, I would say it's one of my favorites of the track list as well. Mainly with the fact that Bjork actually try to interact with the instrumentals in a way that wasn't just incoherent and actually sounded quite nice. And maybe the industrial elements were a bit much, but I think almost everything about this song came together quite nicely. The lyrical topic is quite metaphorical, with her talking about spores and how she became one of them after she got past her divorce in 2015. Anyway, almost everything about this song is great, and I'm going to give it a thumbs up and an 8 to an 8.5. Probably my favorite period track here. It's pretty good. The closer is Her Mother's House.
The space in your voice reveals the space you give others.
Oh, come on! I hate when she does this. Just does random things and expects them to come out good. That does not happen. I'm sorry, it just doesn't.
But a moist voice comes from abundance. The more freedom I give you, a mother's house has a room for each child. The interior of her heart. With lubrication will not crack. Of her heart.
So that was a really quiet moment, and I think I like it too. The lyrical theme is about a mother longing for her children and how her house became empty after they left. Yeah, I think that's a quite nice topic to make a song about. I didn't like how the first chorus came together, which I didn't at all. Probably my least favorite part. Bjork just layers random things on top of each other and expects them to work. Anyway, the rest of the song actually did work together quite nicely, and I had a good time listening to it for sure. And I'm going to give it a thumbs up and a 7 to a 7.5 out of 10. I think it works pretty nicely as a closer too, with Bjork saying that this was basically a song about a mother not knowing how to say goodbye, which kind of works as a nice goodbye. I don't know. So overall, what did I think about Fossora? Well, the defining element of it was definitely its inconsistency, with it sometimes being about plants and flowers or something nature related. Sometimes it was about her mother, about Björk having feelings. The effects mostly were kind of whatever, in my opinion. They took away from the experience, and I didn't really feel like Björk utilized the potential of her ideas and kind of threw shit at the wall and see what stuck. to it, which wasn't a good idea in my opinion. So my favorite tracks were Atopos, the first single, Ancestress, Freefall, Fossora, and Her Mother's House. For the most part, they were just pretty nice, pretty catchy, pretty well put together, somewhat abstract chamber pop songs that I found to be worthwhile, and the rest was just not it. It was just not it. The rest was either a 4 out of 10, a 5 out of 10, or a 6 out of 10. Yeah, that's quite a lot of those scores in the track list, and I'm sorry. I know this is probably one of the most hyped up albums of the year, but the quality wasn't there in the interludes, in some of the singles, and in the deep cuts. It was all just kind of slumped together, and I liked like 1/3 of it. Unfortunately, I guess Bjork's singing was mostly on pitch, and even on the songs I didn't like, I guess the instrumental ideas were pretty solid, but yeah, the combination of all of those things didn't really appeal to me, to be quite honest. Better luck next time, I guess. Yeah. So about the score for this album, I'm feeling a light to decent 6 on it, so yeah, this was a bit of a mixed bag. I will most likely get more out of it on repeated listens, but for now I'm just like, I'm truly mixed on it. I'm sorry. That's just how it is in this world. Luigi meme. As a bonus for this video, I might as well watch the Fantano review of it. Why not?
Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd. I hope you are doing well, and it's time for a review of this new album from Björk, Fossora.
Oh my.
This is the latest full-length LP.
I just saw the dislike score. It is quite bad. Let's continue.
From the legendary Icelandic singer, producer, songwriter Björk, her 10th. We have not heard a new LP from the art pop goat since 2017's flute-heavy Utopia, which was a pretty flowery and ornate change of pace from the sorrowful and heartbroken Volnicura just a few years prior. Now, this very unlikely combination of sounds comes with a message about the increased isolation of society from itself. It seems in a post-quarantine and increasingly digital world, Björk is seeking some kind of human connection. The sentiment of the track is a little on the nose, but well-intentioned. And I mostly feel the same way about the following track, Ovule, which features a lot of very plainly spoken romantic imagery. The horn harmonies throughout the track are great, but a lot like the opener, the super rigid beats and one-dimensional progression of the track doesn't really leave a lot to be excited about. Yeah,
that track was kind of a non-starter for me, because there wasn't a point where it started. It was just kind of a straight line with some stops in the middle of it, which were fine, and the whole track is fine, but you know, the structure was mediocre overall, in my opinion, and this guy's opinion.
There's something about the movement of these tracks, or lack thereof, that just feels a bit off. Moments like the first two tracks here feel less like songs and more like a slightly pompous musical theater piece, which read like they were inspired by a vivid fever dream that continues building up tension for a release that never really comes. Soil also leans pretty heavy into the group vocal passages. It is a bit longer, and the performance is legitimately beautiful, but its overall lack of development leaves this track feeling like a motif of sorts too. Though I will say the lyrics on this track do add to a pretty key theme on this LP, and that is motherhood, procreation, familial love. Björk works this angle in a pretty interesting way, not merely by just writing about it, but also by leaving space for a couple vocal features on this record from her own children. Sindri lends his own voice to the following Ancestress, which in my
They were her own children? I didn't know that. That's a pretty cool fact, I'd say.
Following Ancestress, which in my opinion is the record's first real stunner.
Yeah,
and
it's a good
I think
song.
it achieves these heights by avoiding the rigid progressions and overbearing beats that previous tracks on this thing embrace. The beautiful ascending melody and lush instrumentation on this track just develops in this very open and fluid way, and it just results in a very fantastical and enchanting 7 minutes that I love getting engrossed in. Lyrically, this track also seems to be in tribute to Björk's late mother, whose passing undoubtedly impacted the themes of this record. Things further disperse stylistically from here on the record, which makes it difficult to see really what direction things are going in. We have another very loose interlude before we get the cut Victimhood, whose very dark and evocative first half puts me in a vastly different place than any other track or moment on this record does. But the second half, where all of these various vocal leads and reed melodies are just layering over each other in a super chaotic way, yeah, this section is much less gratifying.
Yeah, that song was just weird. Just weird. Not really great, but just kind of weird. Yeah. It got a bit cold in here. So yeah. There we go.
The second half on this thing is a bit stronger and is kicked off by the song Allow, which has a lot of very baroque and fluttering woodwinds on the intro, and it's certainly nice while it's on, but its instrumental palette and mood just feels utterly disconnected from nearly every other moment on this record thus far.
Yeah, another song I gave kind of a mediocre score to. Yeah.
Fungal City featuring Serpentwithfeet feels a bit more like it, given what the teasers of the album panned out to be. The reeds make a very bold return with some meticulously composed passages. The beats take a more subtle approach at first, eventually building up to this really hardcore pounding sound and level of volume, which honestly I think was the move. The overall progression of the track is much more tasteful for it.
He liked Fungal City. I kind of disliked it, to be honest. One of my least favorite songs from here.
I suppose we do get some pretty strong closing moments on the LP. There's the stunning vocal and string combo on Freefall, which hits a very emotionally overwhelming peak, one of the most beautiful I've heard on a Björk record in a long time. Totally enamored with it, even if the track does kind of trail off toward the end. And it's
Yeah, the last minute wasn't really that well made.
We have a pretty low-key closer from here featuring vocals from Björk's daughter. We have lyrics on this track about home and instilling things like compassion and love into your children. It's obviously very clear this record is trying to convey something about raising kids, about child rearing, and certainly make a statement as well with this combination of very rigid beats and the reeds during key moments like the intro and the title track. But, when we look at the record as a whole, in my opinion, it doesn't really dig into these themes and sonic ideas all that deeply. By Björk standards, this doesn't really feel all that close to a complete idea, a totally explored concept. And historically, Björk is really truly someone who tends to drill down into things. We've seen it again and again and again from...
Yeah, this was a disappointment for sure.
to Vulnicura to Biophilia. By comparison, Fossora just seems so much more surface level, even if it does deliver some mind-bending moments here and there. So as a result of that, as well as some very weak cuts that pale in comparison to others, and some ill-conceived ideas and some half-baked progressions here and there, I'm pretty on the fence with this record, honestly. So sadly, I am feeling like a light to decent 5 on this one. Tran.
Yeah, not really even as a Björk fan, but you know, as a good music fan, this was not it. This was a collection of sometimes great ideas and great execution, but most of the time it was just kind of blech. And yeah, it kind of resulted in a truly mixed bag that I wouldn't say I loved at all. I loved some moments of it, but not really the whole package. So yeah, that's the end of this video. Like, comment and share this video if you could. And yeah, Subscribe maybe even, that'd be cool. If I were to give it a great score, I would have to feel at least something positive about it. I would have to feel at least mostly positive on it, but I am not. So yeah, a 6 out of 10 is a good score, but not really what people expected for it from me. Sorry. Video over.